What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on ESPN with a 12-team PPR mock where we will be selecting from that first overall position, so should be pretty interesting. And while we load, you see we've got the setup all ready to go here. A quick reminder, if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe. Let us hear it in the comment section. Do you agree, disagree with these picks? What are your thoughts on these players, along with any other questions you guys might have? And lastly, check us out online at alldaypigskin.com. And while you're there, get yourself a copy of the 2021 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide. Everything you could want at a great value. Top 150 overall player rankings, standard and PPR formats, individual player bios, tiers, projections, and general fantasy advice. Details in the description. But with that being said, let's get into this draft. And I don't really have to waste any time talking here. We're going Christian McCaffrey. That is the no-brainer pick, especially in PPR. Christian McCaffrey is, when healthy, he is pretty much bust-proof. No matter where he plays, no matter who his quarterback is, no matter the opponent, Christian McCaffrey has such a high floor as well due to his pass-catching ability. And he, even though missed the majority of the season last year, is now still the consensus number one overall pick. So I think that pretty much speaks volumes in it of itself. Let's quickly see here what is going on with these picks, because there's already some craziness, and we kind of just have to address it. Because you see, after we go Christian McCaffrey, then Dalvin Cook. Yep, that makes sense. You see Aaron Rodgers being picked third overall, and that's just absolutely ludicrous. That's an F minus. I mean, that's just a garbage pick. Aaron Rodgers with a third pick in the first round. I almost want to just turn this mock draft off and do a completely new recording, a new video. But look, we're gonna go through with it because hopefully I don't think it's going to mess up our selections too much. We'll see what happens here. But the point being is, don't take a quarterback in the first round. And if you take a quarterback in the first round, for the love of God, not Aaron Rodgers. I hope that, the person here doesn't start drafting kickers and defenses and something like that in the second round. We'll see. If they do, then we might have to try a second attempt at this. But look, Alvin Kamara afterwards, moving on. That's a good pick. He should have gone third overall. Derrick Henry, fifth overall. So basically, imagine all these guys went a pick earlier. Ezekiel Elliott at number 6, Saquon Barkley at 7, Austin Eckler at 8. I like to see Austin Eckler going at that point in time. Then Devontae Adams, the first pass catcher off the board. And then Jonathan Taylor. Let's quickly talk about Jonathan Taylor at the 110. He's somebody now with Carson Wentz potentially out for the season. That means, how will Jonathan Taylor be affected? And I've talked about this before. I think Jonathan Taylor, his ADP, his projections don't change drastically too much, because sure, he could get a little bit more volume, but you could also say, well, since there's going to be a bigger emphasis on the rushing attack, actually, somebody like a Marlon Mack is going to get the most benefit from this, so that they can keep Jonathan Taylor fresh. Something to just keep in mind. I'm not saying that Marlon Mack now all of a sudden is worth drafting really, really early or something like that. No, that's not the case. We also still have to see if, the Colts decide to bring in another quarterback. All things to consider. So just keep that in mind. At point of the story, Jonathan Taylor at the 110, probably around where he should be going. I don't have any major problems or issues with his current ADP, and I wouldn't really change anything all that much. So after Jonathan Taylor, you see Tyreek Hill, you see Nick Chubb, you see Stephon Diggs, and then you see Aaron Jones. So again, just quickly here, looking at it round by round. In the second round, Stephon Diggs and Aaron Jones. So far, so good, I would say. Nick Chubb as a first-round selection when you still had Antonio Gibson. Hell, when you still had Aaron Jones, that's something I don't agree with. So I do want to point that out. Travis Kelce with the third pick in the second round. DK Metcalf, pretty early kind of, I would say. I think DK Metcalf is kind of trending towards a end of the second round selection. So here with the fourth pick in the second round, a little bit early. We'll see. But otherwise, right now, just kind of looking at value, who might fall to us. I'd be very happy if Calvin Ridley is there for us. I would be, very happy if a Clyde Edwards-Helaire is potentially there for us, because I do think that those are right now at the top of my list. Keenan Allen is also someone that I have zero problem taking, just getting all the PPR studs, getting all the targets. Running back, I know I won't be able to get him. Chris Carson right now, potentially. And that's something you're always going to have to consider when you're drafting first overall, second, third, either like I'll say the first two picks, the last two picks of your draft, when you're at those extremes at the beginning of the draft, at the end of the draft. Sometimes those are just positions where you're naturally going to have to reach on players more so than if you're picking in the middle of the draft. But that's what comes with that pick. So again, that's why I want to point it out. After DK Metcalf, quickly touching on some of those names afterwards, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Hopkins, Najee Harris. There goes, unfortunately, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And let's see what the team that just selected Aaron Rodgers in the first round does here. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what happens here. But assuming it's nothing too crazy, again, the guys that I'm considering, Calvin Ridley, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen. We've got Christian McCaffrey. So, necessarily, you could argue we don't need to take a running back right now since we've got somebody that can kind of carry the load. So George Kittle goes with that 10th pick in the second round to the person that drafted Aaron Rodgers, I believe. So, I guess at least it's, it makes more sense than freaking Aaron Rodgers. That's all I'll say there. But going to the players, unfortunately, Calvin Ridley gets sniped from us. I'm definitely disappointed. He would have been my no-brainer pick for one of those selections. So now, again, do we go back-to-back wide receivers? I honestly think I might. The question is it A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, or somebody like A.J. Brown and then Keenan Allen? I'll probably go with Keenan Allen will be one of the selections. And then let's go with, I know I said either A.J. Brown or Justin Jefferson. I just know that if we ignore the running back position, it's gonna be rough. It really will be. It's gonna be guys like Myles Gaskin as our second running back. It's gonna be guys like probably Mike Davis, Damian Harris is our second running back. So I'm really tempted just to go Chris Carson here, and then at wide receiver. But no, all right, let's go with our initial plan and go A.J. Brown. So that's who we're going to go with. So we got two, I would say, pretty rock solid wide receivers in Keenan Allen and A.J. Brown. We've got Christian McCaffrey to carry the load at the running back position. Again, when you pick this early on, that's the nice flexibility, if you will, when you have a bell cow guy like Christian McCaffrey that can, I feel like he's almost good enough to count as a running back and a half, if that makes sense, because of his high upside. So that's the logic between ignoring the running back position right now. But you see after our selection of Justin Jefferson, or A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson being selected, Patrick Mahomes. Again, I don't know what's going on here. The guy that selected Aaron Rodgers also is selecting Patrick Mahomes. So just don't pay attention to that is something that I would say. Then DeAndre Swift, Darren Waller, Miles Sanders, Terry McLaurin. So nothing too crazy here in the third round other than the guy that's selecting two quarterbacks in the first three rounds on a non-super flex league. But hey, again, that is something that's just happening. DeAndre Swift with the fourth pick, Darren Waller with the fifth pick. Good value on Darren Waller there. Miles Sanders, Terry McLaurin, Allen Robinson. Very good value on Allen Robinson as well. Dobbins, Montgomery towards the end of the third round. Now, Chris Carson, I believe, I'll guarantee he won't make it back to us. But other running backs, like I said before, it'll probably be like the Myles Gaskins of the world, the Mike Davises of the world. So it is what it is. Other guys that we're going to target, we're just going to look for best value. I really like a TJ Hawkinson. Hopefully he makes it back to us at the end of the fourth round. I'd be pretty happy with that. Josh Jacobs just goes. I don't know how you can draft Josh Jacobs ahead of Chris Carson. That makes zero sense to me. Just absolutely insane, honestly. He's got Kenyon Drake behind him. He's got a poor offensive line. He isn't really a dual threat running back. So no thank you to Josh Jacobs. Chris Carson with the first pick in the 4th round. That's absolutely just insane. Great value. I don't know what else to say. Even if he had gone at the end of the 3rd round, that would have been great value again. So right now, this is kind of the spot where you're going to see a lot of pretty decent value for some of these wide receivers. You're going to see like Adam Thielen, Mike Evans, Kyle Pitts in the Kyle Pitts in the 4th round. That's just way too much. Again, it's all right though. At least it's not the guy that already had a tight end. So Kyle Pitts goes there with the 4th pick in the 4th round way too early. There's no way, I don't care what the format is, that you should be drafting Kyle Pitts ahead of TJ Hawkinson. I'm going to continue to say that, and hopefully it sticks, and hopefully you guys aren't making a mistake like that. Right now, guys that I would love, Robert Woods is a flex play. Cooper Kupp as a flex play. If we can get Darrell Henderson as our RB2, having Christian McCaffrey, that'd be pretty good, honestly. I'd be all right with that. Running backs that we could also consider are, again, Kareem Hunt as a guy that, he does have a decent floor and he does have high upside because of the PPR aspect. And again, having Christian McCaffrey there, I actually feel all right, I guess, having Kareem Hunt as our 2nd running back. I'd much rather have him as a flex play, but, and as our 3rd running back, just as a depth piece, not as a starting running back guy that we have to rely on. And even more so, if you think about it, when Christian McCaffrey is on a bye, but when you're drafting, you're not really paying too much attention to these bye weeks. That's something you just figure out through waivers. So no worries there. Right now, Darrell Henderson, I'm just, again, continuing to say Darrell Henderson. If I can get Darrell Henderson and then Kareem Hunt, but no, this is way too early for Kareem Hunt. If I land Darrell Henderson, that's the if. If I land Darrell Henderson, which of course I don't. Of course he's drafted 1 pick right before us, so that's the kind of luck we have. It's all right. Cooper Kupp is there, and I think he has to be one of our selections, and probably will be. Right now, I think he's a great flex play. So what I'm going to do is I will take Cooper Kupp with our 1st pick here, and we're getting all these PPR guys. I absolutely love it, and I'm going to continue to add that to that list. TJ Hawkinson, again, you could argue we should go Kareem Hunt first, but I know that the tight end position is going to get, kind of focused on. So for that reason, I'm just going to go with, again, TJ Hawkinson, a guy that should be drafted ahead of Kyle Pitts 10 out of 10 times. But, that's just my opinion, because obviously Kyle Pitts is entering this season with the weight of the world in terms of expectations on his shoulders, and that's just setting yourself up for failure potentially. So Cooper Kupp, TJ Hawkinson, again, I love the way that this is working out for us in terms of a PPR standpoint. McCaffrey, Keenan Allen, A.J. Brown, TJ Hawkinson, Cooper Kupp. Man, we're putting a lot on, speaking of putting a lot on the shoulders of a player, Christian McCaffrey is going to have to be an absolute stud at the running back position, because we got our running back in the 1st round, yes, albeit the best running back, arguably in fantasy football, but afterwards we have arguably forgotten about the position. But again, it's hard to argue with the guys that we got: Keenan Allen, A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, TJ Hawkinson. I think all very good value picks. Yes, TJ Hawkinson, probably his ADP should be closer towards like middle of the 5th round, end of the 5th round, early 6th round, but we knew we weren't going to get him, and that's exactly what I meant when I was saying before. Sometimes you're going to have to reach on one of your guys, and especially if it's at a position that you value and it's a guy that you think is going to break out. So that's the logic there with TJ Hawkinson, drafting him where I did. But let's see at some of these picks after TJ Hawkinson: Travis Etienne, Raheem Mostert, Josh Allen. So, nothing too crazy, I would say right now. I think probably a little bit early for Raheem Mostert, considering that, again, Kareem Hunt was still there. But, I see the upside with Raheem Mostert. I'm just going to go by pick history here, you know, with this last round and the round before that, because before our selection of Cooper Kupp, just kind of pointing out some names, even though we already did, I feel like we went on a soliloquy with Kyle Pitts and got a little bit carried away. You saw guys like Robert Woods, Myles Gaskin, Deontay Johnson, CeeDee Lamb, Julio Jones. Good value on Julio Jones again. He's going towards the end of the fourth round pretty much everywhere now, and I think that's sensational value. Deebo Samuel, I'm not a big Deebo Samuel believer. Especially not at that ADP. So, again, just forget about that team. Forget about Team 3 because they are doing probably the worst job of drafting that I've ever seen. So we don't have to pay attention to that. Darrell Henderson there, I said that he probably would have been our selection, or at least one of them, if he made it to us. So I probably would have gone like Darrell Henderson and then TJ Hawkinson. But instead, we're going to see what happens with Kareem Hunt in that potential situation. Travis Etienne afterwards, like I said, after our TJ Hawkinson pick, Raheem Mostert, Josh Allen, Tyler Lockett, good value there. DJ Moore, good value. Kenny Golladay, Chris Godwin, Kyler Murray, great value on Kyler Murray, 9th pick in the 5th round. We're not going to be able to get Lamar Jackson. There goes Kareem Hunt. Unfortunately, our plans are thwarted. So, you know what that means? Probably at running back, we're going to have to look at a guy like a Mike Davis, look at a guy like a Damian Harris, even probably go back-to-back on those guys if they're there. I'll go with Mike Davis first because he does have that pass-catching upside in PPR. Pretty important, obviously. But other than that, right now I'm looking at just good values. And if he's there, let me quickly see at the quarterback position. Lamar Jackson, is he still there? He is. I don't think he's going to make it to us, but if he does, he will be one of our picks. And of course, he's drafted as soon as I say that. So there you go. That's not going to be something that we look at right now, so we can leave the quarterback position for later on. Michael Thomas is appealing as a stash guy, but we've got so much depth at the wide receiver position already. So, Michael Thomas, who do we take out? Like, we're not going to take out Keenan Allen or A.J. Brown. Cooper Kupp is also sensational, so it's like, that's a little bit tough. So again, it's probably going to go back to Mike Davis. It's going to go back to a situation like that. And I do think right now it's still early for Michael Thomas. So I just do want to mention that again. It all depends on how long he will be out for. That's still kind of up in the air. So that's still the thing that's keeping me from pulling the trigger confidently on him in terms of saying this is the round he should be drafted in. So I just usually give a range of like probably between the 7th and 10th round. Now here after that Lamar Jackson pick, you see T. Higgins was selected. So again, I'm hoping that we can get Mike Davis. I think, him and Kareem Hunt probably, difference won't be all that much, but knowing our luck, we've got 4 picks. We're probably going to get sniped, I'll be honest with you guys. And that means if we get sniped from Mike Davis, probably going to have to go Damian Harris. But honestly, I'll probably go Mike Davis and Damian Harris regardless right now at the quarterback position, considering that Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson are gone. I'm not taking a quarterback right now, way too early. We can get somebody else much later on. We can get a Matthew Stafford. We can get a Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen stack. That's pretty nice. But again, there goes Justin Herbert. As soon as I say that, man, it's like we are being listened to here. Crazy. But right now, again, I'm just holding out hope that we can get Mike Davis. That is all I am waiting on at this point in time. Either Mike Davis, Damian Harris, or ideally both of them. Those will be very, very quick selections on my end, at least. So, yeah, right now that's what we're aiming for. And just kind of okay. Well, we've got our first defense being selected in the 6th round, Buccaneers defense. So I'll say this: hey, if you want to take a lesson at what you shouldn't do, let's look afterwards, because at this point in time, it's just becoming comical what this team is doing. But let's quickly take Mike Davis with our pick here, and then we will take Damian Harris at the running back position. So we're going to go Damian Harris. I want to make sure that we get some running back depth after waiting so long to address the position again. But you want to see at what you shouldn't do. Well, here's your team. Aaron Rodgers, Raheem Mostert, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Buccaneers defense, Patrick Mahomes. Okay, well, like I said, if you could give it a grade of 0 out of 100 or even a negative grade, that's what this team would get. Your RB1 is Raheem Mostert. Don't have an RB2. Your wide receiver 1 is Deebo Samuel. Don't have a wide receiver 2. You've got 2 quarterbacks. Okay, so let's just, I'm getting sick of just looking at that. So we're going to just focus on something else. And we're going to build out the rest of our roster, kind of look at a couple more selections as potential possibilities. Michael Thomas did get selected there. I probably, if I hadn't waited so long for getting a running back or if things had gone our way, I would have just stashed Michael Thomas because at some point it does become, just a good value. And regardless of us having all this wide receiver depth, it's freaking Michael Thomas. The guy's going to be a wide receiver 1 when he returns. So you can't not play him either. Or, worst case scenario, you trade one of those other wide receivers for an upgrade at another position. So that's the way to do it. After that Michael Thomas pick, you see Will Fuller, you see Robert Tonyan, Chase Edmonds, Brendan Cooks, and then Chase Claypool. Right now, if I had to, kind of hope at how this thing would play out, I'm looking at the quarterback position. I'm hoping that probably I'll go with like Matthew Stafford. We'll see the run on quarterbacks. I'll get like Matthew Stafford, or I could honestly just go with Deshaun Watson here, which is kind of what I've been doing recently because, it's looking like he probably plays. So just a great value, honestly. But if not, if we just keep this a little bit more prototypical, probably going to be either Joe Burrow or Matthew Stafford. I like the stacks. So it's probably going to be Matthew Stafford over Joe Burrow. And, after some of those selections at the quarterback position, we get into that territory of some really nice high upside guys that we like. Antonio Brown, Devonta Smith, Marvin Jones. Let's see if there's any running backs right now. Ronald Jones. So there's definitely possibilities. So not too bad right now. I'm not too mad at how this is shaping up. Yes, I'm a little bit concerned about our running back 2 depth, but we got Damian Harris. So honestly, this is the great thing about getting a stud RB1 early on. You can focus on other positions and then just kind of fill in with other. It has to be serviceable running backs. It has to be guys that, and this is the other thing. Mike Davis is a starter for the Falcons. Damian Harris is the starter for the New England Patriots. It's not like we're drafting guys in committees. It's not like we're drafting guys that are backups or something like that. They're going to get volume and, they're going to contribute one way or another. But obviously they have a lot more question marks than other guys that we could have gotten at the running back position earlier on. So those are the trade-offs there. And right now, some other selections that we have seen after Chase Claypool: David Johnson, Javonte Williams, Laviska Shenault, Jarvis Landry, Robbie Anderson, DJ Shark, Jerry Jeudy, Tom Brady, then Leonard Fournette. Again, I don't understand how Leonard Fournette is being selected ahead of Ronald Jones when now you have got Giovanni Bernard there. So he's going to cut into Leonard Fournette's workload the most. James Conner, Dallas Goedert, Tyler Boyd. Dallas Goedert, if Zach Ertz leaves, even though it's trending like he won't, is going to become a guy with skyrocketing ADP. Tyler Boyd, there goes Devonta Smith, so we won't be able to land him. Melvin Gordon, honestly, probably pretty decent value right now. I might just take a chance on him. It's the freaking 8th, 9th round, so he's quote unquote right now the clear-cut number 1 running back for the Denver Broncos. We'll see how long that lasts because they did draft Javonte Williams pretty early on, and I think the idea is to have a running back by committee, kind of like how it was with Phillip Lindsay. So, I mean, Melvin Gordon, he's just going to be a guy that's just very frustrating, a guy that you can't rely week in and week out on. So I'd rather just, get my Antonio Brown share right now and then get my Matthew Stafford taken care of. So we have that stack and, potentially peace out because right now we've got our starting roster taken care of and we've got 2 bench spots. I'll queue up some other players so that, we can get a better idea of what way this roster will kind of shape up. So I'll queue up Deshaun Watson, and I think it's pretty safe to say that nobody else will be selecting him. And at running back, I can, I'll queue up Melvin Gordon. That one's going to be tougher. I don't think he makes it to us. I'll queue up Ronald Jones. Again, I think just a very good value pick. I would queue up other wide receivers here, guys like Darnell Mooney, guys like Marvin Jones, guys that I mentioned. But I think this is good so far, and we can kind of wrap this up. But giving you guys, I guess, a final grade on this roster, I actually think even though we waited very, very long on getting our next group of running backs, that it turned out all right just because Christian McCaffrey is so good. Now, if Christian McCaffrey goes down, then, well, how do I say it? We're screwed. But yeah, Mike Davis and Damian Harris as compliments to Christian McCaffrey. I'm all right with that. I mean, our wide receivers are just great. Keenan Allen, A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, T.J. Hawkinson at the tight end position. I love it. Had to reach a little bit, but that'll happen when you're picking first overall. Matthew Stafford with the Cooper Kupp. No elite quarterback. But again, if Deshaun Watson plays, the guy's arguably a top 5 quarterback. So that's the idea of getting him there. Antonio Brown is a flex, as not even a flex guy. He is a depth piece on the bench. So I really like that. All things considered, I'd probably give this draft a B- grade because, we're running the risk if something happens to Christian McCaffrey at the running back position to take a huge, huge hit there. The quarterback position, we, narrowly miss out on someone like Lamar Jackson, so I'm a little bit upset at that. But still, I think we've got a safe player in Matthew Stafford, guys that has a ton of weapons for the Rams. And then when we get Deshaun Watson, it'll make up for not getting Lamar Jackson or somebody like a Kyler Murray. So point being, I think we did all right, all things considered, since a lot of times the first overall pick can be a tough spot to navigate. The first pick is the easy part. It's what you do afterwards in the second, third, fourth, fifth round, et cetera, et cetera. So overall, probably a B- grade, but hey, let me know your thoughts in the comment section along with any other questions you guys might have. I will do my best to answer them. And again, if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, and lastly, check us out online at alldaypigskin.com. While you're there, get yourself a copy of the 2021 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide. Everything you could want at a great, great value. And in the meantime, we will see you guys in future videos. And here you can even see us draft Deshaun Watson. So there, cherry on top. And with that, again, we'll see you guys in future videos.